Hello, hello, and welcome to my second live stream ever. So I anticipate there's still going to be some glitches and stuff like that, but we do have a fun one for you today. Today, I'm going to be answering a lot of fitness questions for you. On top of this, we're going to be looking at ChatGPT, which, as you know, is like the top of the top AI tool now. And so with this, we're going to be asking it fitness questions, and I'm going to be putting it to the test. Does it know as much as a personal trainer? And of course, I'm not the most knowledgeable personal trainer in the world, but I have been doing it for a few years, 12 years now. And so I know a few things. And so what I'm going to do is kind of put it to the test to see how its answers do as compared to, maybe a normal answer or the average person. So right off the bat, I want to know, what are your fitness questions? So I've got a few already lined up for us, and then I have a technique that we can use to look up some extra ones, like some of the most searched fitness questions. But yeah, we're gonna see how it goes. So let's see. All right, so we are going to go ahead and get started here. And if you're just joining, we are about to ask. Oh, hey, what's up, Bryce? Or yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. All right. So we are going to ask ChatGPT some fitness questions. So let me know what your fitness questions are in the comments. We're going to go over some of them, and we're going to see just how accurate it is. So, yeah, good question. Okay. So we got our first one in. How does one get their arms massive? So, first of all, I want to start with some more general questions, and then I'm going to go into this. So, first of all, let's bring up ChatGPT, and hopefully it's actually working today. Sometimes, as you know, it doesn't work based on like how popular it is at the current moment. So, if you guys haven't used ChatGPT yet, this is what it looks like. You can literally just go in and type in anything. So, please work. But just type in hello. Let's see. Hey, okay, we got a response. Hello, how can I help you? All right. So we're going to be asking it fitness questions. So let's start. Let's see. Average V2 enjoyer has asked a question. So I'll put that up on the screen. How does one get their arms massive? I'm just going to go ahead and jump in with this one. So let's see. How does one get their arms massive? Let's see what it says. So I'll see what it says, and then I'll kind of come up with my own answer, how I would respond to that from a personal training perspective. So keep in mind, this usually is pretty quick. Could take a few minutes, and if it doesn't work at all, then I'll just answer your questions. Who needs Chat GPT? So let's see how it looks. And if you're just joining in, feel free to ask your fitness questions in the comments, and we'll see if ChatGPT can answer them. Honestly, average V2 enjoyer, you might have asked too hard of a question right off the bat. So while it's coming up with its answer, I'll go ahead and answer it. So, how does one get their arms massive? So, you have two parts of your arms, two primary parts. You have your biceps and your triceps. Okay. I'm just going to put me fully on the screen until I see an answer from ChatGPT. So, you have your biceps and your triceps, right? So, your bicep takes up maybe, people always say 1/3 of your arm, about 30% or something like that, and tricep more like 2/3. I think it's a little bit more in the middle than that. But either way, the important thing is that you work out both parts of them. So with biceps, you're going to be doing bicep curls, right? And you want to do different variations of them. So we're talking dumbbell curls, machine curls, cable curls, band curls, anything that works the bicep across the elbow joint, right? So that's one way to get this part of your arm big, right? But how do we get the bulk of your arm or the back of your arm, the tricep big? And that's going to be done through things that are pushing motions. So you have your dips, your bench press, your push ups, things like that. That's how you're going to get those big. So let's see. Oh, okay. ChatGPT is giving us a response. Let me put it back on the screen. Let's see. Oh, it's going as we are talking. To increase muscle mass in the arms, it's more important to engage in regular strength training exercises that target the biceps, triceps, and forearms. Yeah, you got the forearms too. I know what you meant though. Most people, when they say how to get massive arms, it's not like how to get this massive. Could be, but most people are like, how do I get this massive? So bicep curls, spot on. Tricep dips, spot on. Pull ups, Could be. Some people say doing an underhand pull up like this is really good for the biceps. So could be potentially, and it does work across multiple joints. So you're working across the elbow and the shoulder joint when you're doing it. Forearm curls. So basically just curling with your forearms. So those could work. If you were going to put forearm curls in there, though, I would also like to see forearm extensor work. You could even grab like a little mini band like this and do extensor work like that. That really hits the forearms pretty good. So things like that, you could do reverse curls with the forearms or extensors. So yeah, it's important to note that diet is also an important factor in muscle growth. That's absolutely true. So, okay, so I think that's a pretty spot on answer from ChatGPT. So, I mean, of course, like I said, a couple of things. I don't know pull ups if they're the best. Some people swear by them and say, underhand grip works really well. It could if you add that in and along with bicep curls, tricep dips. I mean, with the dips, I would also add in like push downs, or any kind of presses, like I said. So overall, I mean, I would have to give ChatGPT a pretty good rating on this. Could be better, but maybe a 6, 7, somewhere around there. I mean, for just a short, simple answer. So, okay, let's move on to our next one. Oh, good question. How can I gain muscle on a calorie deficit? Good question, Bryce. Okay. So let's ask and let's see what it says. Or can I gain muscle? Can I gain muscle on I literally was looking at the wrong screen when I was typing. I was looking at the other screen. Can I gain muscle? That was just a bunch of gibberish. Okay. On a calorie deficit. Let's see. It is possible to gain muscle while in a calorie deficit, but it may be more challenging than if you were in a calorie surplus. A calorie deficit occurs when the body, okay, it talks about calorie, blah, blah, blah. To gain muscle while in a calorie deficit, you need to focus on strength training exercises that target the muscles that you want to build. Additionally, it's important to pay attention to your macronutrient intake. Okay. It's important to note that it is easier to gain muscle when you are in a calorie surplus. It is also important to consult a doctor. Okay, cool. So basically, it's long story short, it's saying it is possible to gain muscle while in a calorie deficit. Generally, as a personal trainer, I say, no, it's not. Um, and the reason is because if you're in a calorie deficit, you're literally losing weight. So you're literally not fueling the muscles that need to be fueled to gain muscle, right? Having said that, though, I do think that it could be possible if you were a newbie or if you were on steroids. Um, or if you were on a diet maybe for the first time. So if you were new to this whole fitness and nutrition kind of thing, because there is such a thing as newbie gains. I'm sure maybe you've heard of that thrown around somewhere. So potentially in the right circumstance, you could, because you are potentially on newbie games, you would be losing weight and gaining muscle at the same time, which would essentially be what this is what you're asking, Bryce. So is it possible? Yes, but not for the average person that has been lifting, not for the average lifter, I would say, or the average athlete or anything like that. But if you're brand new to lifting, brand new to nutrition, or if you're taking steroids, which I don't recommend, um, I would say it can be possible. So, but ChatGPT says that it's possible just in general, and I don't think that's true. I don't think most research would find that to be true too. We could go into more depth. Maybe we could say this would be interesting. Maybe can you provide research for this claim? I've actually asked it about research before, shown that it's possible to gain muscle on a calorie deficit. A study published in Metabolism found that trained men who were in a calorie deficit for. Sorry if this is like boring because I'm literally just looking up, just asking it about research and stuff like that. I'll get to some more general questions and stuff like that in a minute. Hmm. Decrease in strength. We're able to maintain muscle mass, but had a decrease in strength. Able to maintain muscle mass. Okay. So that's not gaining. We're able to maintain muscle mass while in a calorie deficit. What did this first one say again? Maintain. Yeah, maintenance. I'm just skimming over this, but maybe I'm missing something. Uh, it may not be generalized under. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So could be skimming over it just a little bit too much, but it does look like it kind of is supportive of that. Mostly, it's you can. I mean, yeah, you could definitely maintain muscle mass. That's how bodybuilders do it. By the way, I'm wearing this hat because I'm just having a bad hair day. I don't know if you guys experience that, but yeah, bad hair day today. But got the old trusty hat on to help out. Um, but yeah, like think about bodybuilders who gain up, 30, sometimes 40 or so pounds in the off season to gain muscle mass, but they also gain a lot of fat as well. So if you see them in the off season, they're massive, right? But they have to cut down in body fat for during season. But hopefully, if you do it right and if you do it over a long period of time, you're maintaining your strength as well. So with this, it's saying they're able to maintain muscle mass, and with some of them, decrease strength. Some of them, if you're an athlete, you would actually want to definitely maintain your strength or definitely maintain your power output too. So it depends on what kind of athlete we're talking about. Okay, let's move on. Good question, Bryce. Realistically, how much time would it take to build 1 pound of muscle versus losing 1 pound of fat? Great question. Let's see what ChatGPT says. All right. This is by the Ooh King. I think I said that right. Hopefully I did. Thanks for watching, by the way. Realistically, how much time would it take to build 1 pound? Ooh, spelled that wrong. I don't think it really matters if you spell it wrong. I think it kind of knows muscle versus losing 1 pound of fat. All right, let's see what happens. The amount of time it takes to build 1 pound of muscle or lose 1 pound of fat can vary depending on a variety of factors, including diet, exercise routine, and starting body composition. That's true. Building 1 pound of muscle typically requires a calorie surplus, consistent training, strength training, and adequate protein. Where does it go? Okay. A healthy rate of weight loss is 1 to 2 pounds per week. That's right. Uh, that's true. The building. So okay. So it's saying that losing 1 pound of fat can happen more quickly than building muscle. Yeah, That's true. Typically. Okay, so it kind of gave a very broad answer, a very general answer. Yeah, typically what we say as trainers is that 1 pound, 1 to 2 pounds per week, both of gaining and of weight loss. I'm not sure what the exact percentage is of like when you're gaining. Like, let's say you gain 2 pounds a week. I'm not sure exactly the percentage of what that would be of muscle. I remember in school we talked about it and it was like 50-50 if you do it right, like 50% muscle, 50% fat. And then when losing weight, if you're doing it right and over the long period of time, then it could be more like you could potentially do like 70, 80, 90. They even say potentially 100% body fat. I think that would have to be like spot on perfection training. If we're talking, you're taking creatine, you're taking a lot of different stuff. I don't know if that's typical for like the average person to do. But definitely losing fat is a little bit easier while maintaining muscle than gaining muscle in the first place. But yeah, like we say, gaining about 1 pound, 1 to 2 pounds per week, or losing about 1 to 2 pounds per week is the average rate. So hopefully that helped answer your question a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Bryce got another one. What to do if I'm not getting stronger and can't lift heavier each week? Oh, good question. So let me answer it first, and then let's see what ChatGPT can spit out. So again, what to do if I'm not getting stronger and can't lift heavier each week? Hmm. I would say it would be important to look at your training program, Bryce, and see exactly what you have set up. So let's answer the basic training principles. Are you following the basic training principles? Are you following overload every single week? Are you following variation from mesocycle to mesocycle? And are you being specific with your training? So if you're being specific in this instance, you're going to want to train in the sense of like you want to gain um, muscle, you want to gain strength each week, each mesocycle, right? So what I would say is let's evaluate that and see if everything is lining up. So what you would want to do, and if you've seen any of my videos, which I know you have, Bryce, because Bryce edits my videos, so shout out to you. But so you would want to start a little bit lower, build up, then build up, then build up, and then eventually deload. A lot of people want to keep going on a linear path whenever they're training, and sometimes that could be the issue. Maybe you're trying to go linearly. Maybe you're trying to add 5 pounds every single week, and you've never had a deload. You've never changed up the variation. That could be the issue. What I'm finding out as I'm answering this is there's so much nuance to these questions. So we'd have to really look at your yeah, we'd have to really look at what your training program is. You know, let me see if I can give a general answer that I think ChatGPT is going to give. What do I do if I'm not getting stronger? Lift heavier each week. I think it's probably going to tell you to eat more protein and maybe get on a strength training program that's different than what you've been doing, or appropriate for your goals. So let's see what it says. What to do if I'm not getting stronger? Can't lift heavier each week. Totally spelled that wrong, but let me change it. OCD. Let's see. If you're not getting stronger, can't lift heavier weights each week, there are a few things that you can try to improve your progress. Check your technique. Okay, that's true. That's true. I was going in assuming you had good technique. So check your technique. Increase volume. Okay, that would be one of the training principles. So that'd be overloading. Of course, that's your issue though, right? Which is you can't get stronger. So maybe you can't increase your volume. So another one, focus on progressive overload. Same thing as increasing volume. Change your workout routine. That would be variation. Okay. What I like about ChatGPT is it's not specifically saying that these are the basic training principles, but it's giving it to you. It's letting you know exactly what to do. So change your workout routine. So that could be at Bryce. You could be needing to change. Get enough rest and recovery. Are you resting each night? 7 to 9 hours. Are you resting even during the day? There's something, I can't remember the exact terminology, but it's like basically deep rest, non-sleep. Are you resting during the day, or are you anxious about a lot of stuff? So sometimes that can affect your performance. So it's something to really look out for there. Okay, let's see. Review your diet. Yep. Make sure you're consuming enough protein. Called it. Yep. Consult with a sports dietitian. Ooh, okay. Make sure you're getting enough nutrition to support your goals, and consult. Oh my gosh. ChatGPT. Consult with a personal trainer. ChatGPT is growing on me a bit, man. Okay, cool. So yeah, so Bryce, I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. Do you think any of these would apply to you? What do you think? Like maybe it's been a while since you changed up your program. Maybe you need to focus more on progressive overload, changing your diet. Maybe you need to rest a little bit more. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, Bryce, and then we'll get back to that. Okay. All right. Great question. The U King. What's the difference between hypertrophy training versus strength training? So I'll give my training answer. I'll give what I think ChatGPT is going to say, and then we'll go from there. So hypertrophy training I just did a video on this actually, so it should be coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. Hypertrophy training is going to be muscle growth. That's you're training for muscular growth. So when you see bodybuilders, think hypertrophy. When you see powerlifters or strongman, you'll notice they look completely different. A lot of times they have a little extra layer of fat on them, but they're dense. Like they're very dense. They're like super swole. And strongman, they're just massive. Usually they're like 6'5", 6'8", something like that, and like 300-400 pounds. So strength is defined as how much you have absolute strength and you have relative strength, but I won't go into all that. Basically, how much can you lift? So when you're strength training, you're going to be training to lift really heavy amounts of weight, right? When you're hypertrophy training, you're training more for a time under tension kind of thing. So you could do 5 reps, you could do 10 reps, you could do all the way up to 30 reps. And studies show that anywhere from 5 to 30, typically you're going to be in that hypertrophy range. Whereas strength, usually about 1 to 5, something like that. So hope that helped answer your question. Now let's see if ChatGPT knows the answer. And I'm going to guess it's going to say something similar to what I said, but very simplistic in the sense of it's going to say hypertrophy is maybe a certain rep range, and maybe it's to grow your muscles. And then strength training is maybe a certain rep range, and it's to grow strength. So let's see what it says. Between hypertrophy. Have you ever heard anyone call it hypertrophy training versus strength training? Also, if you're just joining, we are asking fitness questions to ChatGPT, and me as a trainer kind of having a little battle, and we're seeing what it says and seeing how accurate it is. And then also, if you're also just joining, let me know where you're from. Are you from the United States? What state are you from? Are you from a different country? Where are you joining in from? I'd love to know. So okay, so we have our answer. Hypertrophy training and strength training are both types of resistance training that aim to increase muscle size and strength, but they have some differences in terms of their focus and the specific techniques used. Hypertrophy training is focused on increasing muscle mass or muscle size, also called muscle hypertrophy. This is typically achieved by doing higher reps, 8 to 12. That's actually a myth. It used to be believed that it was 8 to 12, but now research shows it's 5 to 30 with moderate to heavy weights. And heavy weights, it depends on how you define it. It's all relative, but agreed. It's like heavier intensity when lifting, with the goal of causing microscopic muscle damage that leads to muscle growth. Okay. Strength training, on the other hand, is focused on an increase in muscle strength and power. Not necessarily power. Power is different than strength. Power is like strength divided by time. So the difference is like strength would be like a deadlift, whereas power would be like a clean and jerk, like you're doing it really fast. So this is typically achieved by doing lower reps, 1 to 5. Hey, got that. And with very heavy weights, that's true, with the goal of increasing the amount of weight you can lift. Both types of training can be effective for increasing muscle size and strength, but the approach is different. Yeah, that's true. So like if you're a newbie and let's say you want to gain like muscle, but you're doing strength training for some reason, and you're just doing like 3 to 5 reps or something, you're still going to gain muscle. Like it's not like a hard cut at like 5 reps. It overlaps a bit. So you're going to gain a bit of muscle, and you're also going to gain a bit of strength with hypertrophy training. But you have like I said, a general focus on which one. And so like if you're a power lifter, you want to be, and you're a competitor, you want to be hyper focused on strength training. If you're a bodybuilder, you want to be hyper focused on hypertrophy training, right? So it just depends on what you're looking to do. So, all right. Thanks for the question. Can I get fit without any equipment? All right. I love this question. Anyone? Thanks for asking. The answer is absolutely. So first of all, we got to determine what fit even is. If by fit you mean in good shape in the sense of like you don't have a lot of body fat, maybe you have some abs, maybe you can go run a mile or a couple of miles, maybe you can get a little stronger. The answer is absolutely you can. You do not need anything. You just body weight and a willpower. You could do things like push-ups, sit-ups. You could run. You could do body weight movements. There's lots of different stuff. Pull-ups. So yeah, that is absolutely true. So let's see what it says. Can I get fit without any equipment? All right. Oh, I wanted to see. Okay, we got someone from Tennessee. Hello, Todd. I think I might know you. We have Bryce from Kentucky. Very cool. Yes, love two Southern folk. We have watching from Ireland. Oh my gosh, what part of Ireland are you watching from? I've been there. I've been to Dublin, and we took a tour out to what was it called again? The Cliffs of Moher. The Cliffs of Moher. So I've been to the Cliffs of Moher. Beautiful. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. So where are you from? LFM. All right. So, yes, it is possible to get fit without any equipment. There are many body weight exercises that can be done at home and outside to help improve your fitness level. Here are some examples: push ups, squats, lunges, planks, all that stuff. Great. Perfect. There are a few examples of body weight exercises that are what am I saying? These are just a few examples of body weight exercises, and there are many more. Okay. Yeah. So basically, yeah, it's right. I would say another thing I would just add in is it's talking mostly about resistance training. You can do cardio training too. So I would add that in too. I mean, burpees are kind of cardio training, jumping jacks too. So yeah, I mean, so like I said, you could do running, you can do walking. That's a part of being fit. A lot of bodybuilders to maintain muscle mass, they don't do high intensity cardio, so they'll do a lot of walking. So, all right, okay, cool, cool, cool. So I'm looking at LFM's message. Let's see, a county just I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Meath, county just outside of Dublin. Lots of fields and farms. Yeah, when I took the tour bus outside of Dublin, that's what I saw. Very green. Uh, I loved it though. Like we stayed in Dublin. What is it called? Temple Bar? Is that what it's called? And oh man, so much fun. You Irish people know how to party. It's great. Lots of fun. All right. So speaking of that, let's get on to your question. How do you build power for combat sports? Great question. I love that question. So the way I would answer it as a trainer is I would think about number one, building strength, because strength is half of your power. So first of all, you've got to get really strong. So you want to make sure you're really good on your bench press. When you think about it, if you're in a combat sport, you're unless it's jujitsu or judo or something like that, you're going to be probably punching. So you want to do a lot of presses. So it's going to be really good for your arm strength. You want to do leg exercises like squats, big compound lifts. You want to get really strong first. But then after you've gotten strong, yeah, after you've gotten strong, you want to start to work on your power. So things that are explosive. So what you might see some fighters do, I know you've seen probably videos of like fighters, jumping out of a pool, and that's just because of how explosive they are. They'll jump out of a pool and like land on top of it. Like that's just crazy to me. But think about like jump training, think about power movements like pulls from the floor. Think about clean and jerks, think about push presses, those sorts of things. And then think about more of plyometric kind of exercises like box jumps. Think about anything that's explosive, and that's how you're going to build your power. So let's see what ChatGPT says. I'm really curious to see if it's actually going to distinguish between what strength is and what power is, because it might just say like stick with like, I don't know, squats or something like that. So let's see. Let's see. Old Chat GPT. While it's answering, let me see. All right, all right, all right. Everyone's looking good. Yeah, because sometimes people don't make the distinction between power and strength, but power is literally just the same thing as explosiveness. How fast can you move a heavy amount of weight, right? So that's the difference. That's why, it's so mislabeled because powerlifting should actually be called strength lifting. Powerlifting, you do squats, deadlifts, and bench. That's why those are not power movements, they're strength movements, right? So if you're looking at weightlifting though, that's actually the sport of weightlifting. So it'd be one word. Weightlifting itself, like gym bros going and curling, that would be two words. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but it's a sport. And so the sport, what they do is they do clean and jerk, and then what they do after that is the snatch. So I don't know if you've ever seen it, but wide grip all the way overhead with a very heavy bar, usually measured in kilos. So ChatGPT is taking its time right now. So we're going to put a hold on that and come back. So I'll let you know whenever it comes back, whenever it has an answer. All right. So LFM, thanks for the question. Let's see. We'll come back to that in just a second. All right. So Bryce, going back to the question that we had earlier, Bryce was asking about if he can gain strength and stuff like that. Oh, you know what? ChatGPT. I'll show you what happens whenever ChatGPT doesn't work. So this will happen sometimes. And then what you'll need to do is refresh it. and ask the question again, which was, how do you build power for combat sports? Let's see. So hopefully it gives an answer now. It may just be overloaded, honestly. Sometimes that happens. Oh, here we go. There are several ways to build power for combat sports. Oh, let me switch this on here so everyone can see that. There are several ways to build power for combat sports, including strength training. Okay. Okay. Yeah, because strength is, like we said, the foundation of building power. Plyometrics, perfect. Speed training. Yep, that's right. Yep. So the speed of your punches, your strikes. Yep. Yep, that's perfect. Endurance training. That's not true. And then focus on technique. That is true. So the only one I disagree with is endurance training, number 4 right here. You're thinking about building power. And when you're doing endurance, and let's say endurance, keep don't get me wrong, endurance is great, especially for combat sports, because that takes like the most endurance out of a lot of sports. And so you want to do it, but you want to do it in the sense of that it's specific to your sport, right? So you want to be, if you're a boxer, you want to box, right? You don't necessarily want to do like the Rocky thing where you're going out and running for miles and miles and miles. With endurance training, it doesn't build power because it's the opposite of strength and hypertrophy and anything like that. So, or power. So, I guess by the sense of what it's saying, building cardiovascular endurance can help fighters last longer in the ring and maintain their power throughout the fight. Okay. So that might be true in the sense of like you're maintaining your power, but it's not going to build your power. So yeah, there you go. So I would say 1 through 5, and then 4 is a caveat. It doesn't help you build power, but it helps you maintain your power as you go throughout the sport. So cool. Hopefully you found that helpful. All right. Now let's go on to Bryce's comment. Zako. I can never really remember how to say your name. Don't worry. You are not late. You are always arriving precisely when you're meant to. Okay. So going on to the follow up with Bryce, I think I might not be eating enough calories, protein, because I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight, but gain muscle at the same time. I could maybe do more reps. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. So what I would ask then, Bryce, is are you, like we talked about earlier, are you kind of a newbie to weightlifting and being on a strict plan and diet and stuff like that? Because if so, then it's possible. If not, it's going to be hard to gain strength. It's going to be hard to build muscle while losing weight at the same time. So I'm curious. So let us know. Are you new to weightlifting? So let's see, and then we can reevaluate from there. All right. All right. Let's see. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you're new to the stream, if you just jumped on and stuff, we are asking fitness questions. It's a Q&A with both me as the trainer and also ChatGPT. So we're kind of putting it head to head, testing out, is ChatGPT got really good answers for fitness training, or is it kind of just bringing in general statements? So, and what we're finding so far is it's actually doing pretty good. It's doing pretty good. A couple of caveats here and there, a couple of generalizations, a couple of things that are a little bit outdated. But other than that, I mean, this is not bad. This is very impressive. And I like the fact that it can also cite its sources. Although, you got to look at the sources and look at their conclusions and stuff like that just to be absolutely sure. So let's see here. Zako asked, how type of vitamins is good to take? Do you mean like what type of vitamins are good to take? So generally, what I say, if you're going to take vitamins, typically a multivitamin is fine. Okay. So that's what you're taking right there. Okay, cool. Honestly, I think a multivitamin like is so much easier. Now, this is assuming you don't have any doctor's recommendations or anything like that. You have nothing going on, no disorders or anything. If you're just an average person just looking to get in better shape and looking to be healthier, typically a multivitamin is going to be absolutely fine for you. So let's see what ChatGPT has to say. What types of vitamins? Vitamins should I take? There are many types of vitamins that are essential for maintaining overall health. Here are some. Okay, so it's going to list a lot of them. It's going to list most of them. So I'm curious to see if it has a prescription towards the end. Oh, I totally forgot to put it back on this screen. There we go. It's important to note that a balanced diet with a variety of fruits and vegetables can provide most of the vitamins and minerals you need. You should consult a doctor or dietitian to see if you need to take any additional supplements based on your specific needs and situation. Okay, so let's see. Can you get most of these vitamins in a multivitamin? Okay. Yes, most multivitamins contain a combination of various vitamins and minerals. Many multivitamins contain the essential vitamins and minerals that the body needs to function properly, and so on and so on and so on. However, it is important to note that the amount of each vitamin in a multivitamin may not be the same as the recommended daily intake, so you should read the label carefully. That's true. Usually it's a lot. I need to go back and look at it, but usually it gets your daily intake. And if it doesn't, it at least gets you most of the way there, in which your normal diet should get you all the way. Yep. Should not be used as a substitute. Yep. I absolutely agree with that. Cool. Yeah. So that's what I usually say. Multivitamins usually get you all the way there. But obviously talk to a doctor if you need any other types of vitamins based on your situation. So, all right, Bryce, into the saga. Let's see. Yeah, it just started. Just started a new year. Have done some lifting in the past, but never consistent. Played baseball and did cross country in high school. Okay, so baseball is not really a strength power sport, and cross country is more of an endurance sport. So, have done some lifting in the past. I'm curious, like when you say lifting, have you been doing it? Did you do it for a long time? Did you do it for like many years and go hard at it and then kind of stop? Or did you do it like here and there every now and then, like high school? And then now you're being really consistent with it. Well, I just now saw where I said never consistent. So yeah, so basically I think you probably could get some newbie gains. And I think that would be really, yeah, give it a shot. I would say try to optimize your training routine, try to optimize your overloading, your vitamins, your variation. So change it up every, 4 to 6 weeks or so. Try to, like I said, start low, go high, then deload, then do it again, get a little bit stronger each time. And with each new mesocycle or month of training, try some different exercises and see how that works for you. All right. Okay, next question. As a 14-year-old who's looking to be as strong as possible and maybe compete in powerlifting, what's the idea? What do you mean? What do you mean by what's the idea? Like how do you get there? I'm curious if you could elaborate on that. Also 14 is not too young to compete in powerlifting. I don't know if you guys know much about my story. I competed in powerlifting when I was 13 and started lifting when I was 11. So I did all right. Did a couple of big powerlifting competitions. Oh, I see you clarified down here. What's the ideal amount of calories for 14 years old to take in for strength training? Depends. It depends on how big you are right now. So I would say, and it also depends on like what weight class you want to be in. So like if you're, let's say there's a 198 weight class and you weigh 170 and you're trying to get into that heavier weight class, typically you want to go over the weight class. Let me show this on the screen. Typically you'll want to go over the weight class in your training and then diet down to be into the weight class. So you're going to want to have let's say you're under the weight class right now, you're going to want to have a hypercaloric diet, really jump up, eat a lot more, gain a lot of weight. And then as the competition gets closer, you're going to want to diet down. And that's going to be a hypocaloric diet. And then from there, I'm going to switch to just me right now. It would be vice versa. Let's say you weigh like 200 pounds and you want to get down to I can't remember the exact classes, like the 175 class or something. That'd be a big jump. Let's say 185. You might want to lose 15 pounds or 16 pounds right before the competition. So it really just depends on where you're at with your training and where you're trying to get to. Okay. What's the difference between dense and soft muscle? Let's ask ChatGPT. That's a good question. What is the difference between dense and soft muscle? Dense muscle and soft muscle refer to the texture and appearance of muscle tissue. Dense muscle refers to muscle tissue that has a high number of muscle fibers packed closely together. This type of muscle tissue has a compact, firm appearance and is often associated with strength and power. Athletes and bodybuilders tend to have more dense muscle tissue. Soft muscle, on the other hand, refers to a muscle tissue that has fewer muscle fibers and less connective tissue. This type of muscle tissue has a looser, fluffier appearance and is often associated with endurance and flexibility. Athletes and bodybuilders with more soft muscle tissue are known to have good stamina. It is worth noting that both types of muscle tissue can be developed through weight training and other forms of exercise. The type of muscle tissue you have is determined by your genetics, and the type of exercise you can do influence and the type of exercise you do can influence the muscle. I'm actually curious to see, is this the same as fast and slow twitch? Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm more used to this in terms of fast and slow twitch or type 1 or type 2 muscle fibers. So fast twitch muscle fibers would be type 2, and slow twitch would be type 1. Slow twitch is what you see in endurance runners typically. Type 2 is more like power lifters. All right, cool. Hopefully that helped answer your question. Bryce, no here and there. No here and there. I might have. I'm lost in our conversation now, but I think we'll see. Yeah, just implement some of those strategies that we talked about earlier, and that should help you out. Devin, how come we can't always advance to lifting dumbbell weights and have to lift lower level dumbbells? What's your advice routine? I'm trying to think about how come we can't always advance to lifting dumbbell weights and have to lift lower dumbbells? Are you saying how come we can't always continually advance in the sense of like how come we plateau at some form or another at some point or another? Well, if that's the case, part of it is because of your genetic limitations, right? So, if you take someone that is just genetically very small and someone that's genetically very big, think of Hathor Bjornsson, the guy that's like he's the mountain in Game of Thrones. He's 6'9", like 300 and some pounds, 400 pounds. He's always going to be able to lift more than someone that's like 5'2" and like 130 pounds, right? No matter how strong that guy gets. So it could just be your overall genetics. It could be your training. Like I said with Bryce, it could just be maybe we need to put you on a scientific program where you're going up, going down, going up and going down instead of trying to go all the way and then you plateau. And that's why you can't gain any more strength on your dumbbell exercises. So there's a lot of factors it could be. So we'll see. And by the way, if you guys are just joining us, if you have any fitness questions at all, feel free to let us know. And also, if you haven't joined our Discord yet, it's a lot of fun. The link should be, I don't really know how this is working on YouTube because I'm still new to live streaming, but the link should be in the description. So make sure to check it out, our Discord link. If you have any more fitness questions, you can feel free to ask them in there and our community will get back with you. I'll get back with you. And it's a lot of fun. Also, if you like anime and stuff, we have anime sections in there. So a lot of people are doing anime fitness plans. A lot of people are trying like the Garo training program. We're seeing a lot of people with really good results with that. And then the Kratos training program, Asta training program, all that stuff. All of that also is linked in the description down below. So make sure to check that out if you guys are interested in that. So let's see here. Oh, Stephen King. Let's see. Okay, clarification on the question. I meant to ask, what is the ideal amount of calories for 14-year-old who weighs 205 pounds to get as strong and bulky as possible? That is a good question. Let's see what ChatGPT says, and then I'm curious. I have an idea. I'm curious if it can give exact. I don't know if it's probably going to say consult with a dietitian or something. What's the idea? Calories for a 14-year-old who weighs 205 pounds to get as strong and bulky possible. Let's see if I can answer it. I'm really curious. I may not be able to because it's such a specific answer. It's important to note that determining the calorie intake for a 14-year-old who weighs 205 pounds to achieve a specific body composition goal, like getting as strong and bulky as possible, is not straightforward. That's true. A number of factors play, such as genetics, hormone levels, overall health, and other stuff. In general, however, 14-year-old needs about 1,600 to 2,200 calories per day. But for a 14-year-old who weighs 205, the calorie needs may be higher. To gain weight and build muscle, it's recommended to consume more calories than the body burns. Okay. So it's saying standard 1,600 to 2,200. I've got, oh, dude, I totally forgot to switch over to this so you could see its answer. This is Answer the Public. So you can actually go on here and ask a lot of fitness questions and stuff like that too, or see what the public is asking. So this is basically what it's saying 1,600 to 2,200. But let's see. Calorie calculator. All right. So this is a very basic, very simple way in which you can determine your calorie needs. It's not always 100% accurate, but it's a good kind of baseline. I'm not sure how tall you are. I'm going to say your average, say 5'9", and you weigh, would you say 205? All right. And you want to gain as much bulk as possible. So let's say let's just say moderate activity. We can always change that. Okay, I'm going to say you're 15. Okay. Keep in mind these are general weight or these are general calorie intakes. So ChatGPT says for a normal person that has your stats, 16 to 2,200, but add more for gaining weight. So let's see. Yep, you're correct about my height. Oh, very cool. That's nice. Okay, so maintain weight would be mid weight. Oh, is this for weight loss? Extreme weight loss. Did I put weight loss in? Let me see. Maybe this is calorie calculator for. There's a way to do it for weight gain. I'm not really sure. Maintain weight. So either way, it's significantly higher. It's saying 2,800, and then it's saying like if you're wanting to gain more weight, you might add 200 on or something like that. Another way you can think about it is if you take your weight in pounds. I need to look at this again. I can't remember the exact thing. But if you take your weight in pounds and multiply it times 15, I believe, that would be a good number for maintenance. Keep in mind, these are general numbers, a good place to start. And then once you try them for a couple of weeks, just really track everything and then either level up your calories or take them down a bit based on your goals. This goes for everybody. So 15 is a good place to start. And then that's like supposed to be maintenance. And then you could add on like multiply it times 16, multiply it times 17. And then you got your answer from there, usually for gaining weight. So that was a general statement. The thing that I do with my clients is it's very broad and up in the air until we get down and we can really just track everything as much as possible. So hopefully that gives you some answer. All right. What's best to start bulking or cutting? Depends on your goals, Zacho. Did you say your goals earlier? Let's see. Well, you said you want to get stronger with the dumbbells and stuff like that. So I would say for you, generally in general, I like bulking during the winter because it gets cold. Your body needs more insulation. No one's going to be seeing you. You're not going to the beach unless you live somewhere tropical. Then maybe you are, or if you live in the southern hemisphere. So I would say bulk in the winter, cut in the summer. That's usually my recommendation. Of course, just depends on your goals. Really curious what it says about how much your ethnic background affects how much muscle you can build. I know genetics plays a lot to it, but does ethnicity play into it as well? That's a great question. Man, there's a great book on that, and I'm blanking on the title of it. If I think about it, I'll put it in the comments later on. But there's a really great book about ethnicity and how it plays into more so sport and muscle genetics and stuff. Okay, does I think I got that summarized correctly. So we'll see. Yeah. Can play a role in determining how much muscle a person can build. Genetic factors, including muscle fiber type, distribution, muscle insertion, and muscle belly length and muscle enzyme activity, can influence muscle size and strength. It's worth noting that different populations have different genetic predispositions, which can influence muscle growth potentially. For example, studies have shown that people of African descent tend to have a higher proportion of fast twitch muscle fibers, which are associated with greater muscle power and explosiveness. Makes sense. All you got to do is look at the NBA. It makes perfect sense. And that's actually what that book that I'm talking about. I got to think of it for you. Goes over and it talks about the different ethnicity and how like muscle fiber types play a various differences in this sort of stuff. It basically talks about this. Maybe who knows? Let's see. Are there what are some good books to read on this? Maybe it'll come up. I'm really curious. Yeah, basically everyone has a genetic predisposition and a genetic limitation. It could be ethnicity related. It could be height related, weight related. A lot of different stuff is included in genetics, and so you have a cap on certain abilities. So it might be your strength, might be your speed, might be your endurance, whatever. The thing is, I just don't unless you're like trying to be a professional athlete. Don't use that as an excuse for not training a certain way, if that makes sense. So while we're waiting on ChatGPT, oh, I totally forgot to. I'll get it as we go. This is ChatGPT's answer. I was reading most of it earlier, but you can read more right there. We're waiting on ChatGPT to give us the books for that. I know there's one book. I'm really curious to see what it's called. So while we're waiting on that, let's get into some more questions. And I'm probably going to go about 10ish more minutes, and then I got to hop off, just so you know. Okay. I like how I got your height, the U King. I like how I got your height perfectly. 5'9", average. Nice. Good height. This dude is 14 and already as tall as me. I love it. I get it. If I'm 5'5", do I gain muscle and lose fat faster than someone who's 6 foot? Ooh, great question, Bryce. Great question. Okay. ChatGPT is working on this one. Let me answer this, and then we'll come back to that. So let's see. There are many books. The new rules. Eric Helms, love his work. Most things he does is wonderful. Dang, it's not in here. I got to think of that book. Okay. Well, these are all great books that you guys can look at as well. So I would go into more about it, but we're going to move on because we don't have too much more time. So, yep. Basically, the answer to your question, Lando, is yes, it does play a factor. So, and there's a lot more to learn about it and to research. So let's go back. Let's see. 5'5". Do I gain muscle and lose fatter or fatter? Do I lose fat faster than someone who is 6 foot? That's a great question. Let's ask ChatGPT. Do shorter people gain muscle and lose fat faster than people who are taller? Height does not determine the rate of muscle gain or fat loss. The rate at which a person gains muscle and loses fat is determined by a variety of factors, including genetics, hormones, age, sex, overall health, calorie intake, and exercise regimen. Short people and tall people can both gain muscle and lose fat at similar rates if they are following a proper training and nutrition program that is tailored to their individual needs and goals. It is worth noting that body composition and muscle to fat ratio can be different between people of different heights due to their different body proportions. That's true. That's why a lot of times when you see bodybuilders, usually they're shorter. On average, they're shorter. So if you look at most Mr. Olympias are under 6 foot tall. Of course, you got outliers like Chris Bumstead, Arnold Schwarzenegger, people like that, but most of them are a little bit shorter. And I think because of that, I think the taller you are, the lankier your arms and legs typically can look, and so it's harder to build up more muscle. So it's more about the proportions at that point. But yeah, according to ChatGPT, there shouldn't be a difference in terms of height as far as the rate of muscle gain and muscle and fat loss. I'm not sure. I would like to see some more research on that before I came to any conclusions myself, but it could be accurate. So I like to take cold showers. Nice. How do you do it? I'm always curious because I've never really been in a habit of taking cold showers. I've always, obviously, a lot of people talk about how good they are and ice baths and stuff like that. From what I understand, research is up in the air as far as like how healthy it actually is for you. But for those of you who do take cold showers, how do you do it? Do you just turn the knob all the way cold and just jump in and then that's how you take your shower? Or do you start with like a warm shower and then slowly get colder and go all the way? Or do you go like slightly cold? I'm curious. I've always wondered how people do this. So I mean, and every time I've tried it, I've just went all the way cold and jump in, and it did not work well. It's like get in for like a few seconds, I'm done. So how do you guys take cold showers? Weird question, but yeah. And Zacho, yeah, no, Zacho, you said yes, so I assume that's yes to just jumping in cold and just taking it like that all the way from the start. Okay, nice. All right, man. Yeah, I don't take cold showers or ice baths personally, but I've heard there's great benefits from doing them, and a lot of people swear by them. I know people like Joe Rogan and people that come on the show and everything talk about that all the time. I'm pretty sure research is still up in the air on that, but yeah, you know what? I know we got a couple other questions in between, but why don't we go ahead and ask? Are cold showers beneficial, and why? Cold showers have been touted for their potential health benefits, including increased circulation, improved immunity, increased alertness, improved skin and health care or hair health, reduced muscle soreness. By the way, one thing I do know for certain is that you don't want to use cold showers or ice baths for recovery right after you work out. Because right at that point in time, even though that's like when you would think you would want to, you don't want to because it disperses all the metabolites that are in your bloodstream that are going to those muscles. And so you don't really get the recovery process, all the nutrients that you need to those muscles at that point. So if you're going to use ice bath or cold water and stuff like that, make sure it's outside of the workout window. So like first thing in the morning, a couple hours before you work out, or last thing in the evening, something like that. He said, "For real, I always get the feeling you did." Hey, I'm actually considering doing a video where I try it for like a week or a month or something like that. So I might try it. I might see if I can get some benefits out of it. I am curious because this is something I might look into later on. Um, give me your uh, what is the best way to say this? Just your evidence. Evidence. Um, show me a peer-reviewed article would probably been a better way to say it. The nice thing about talking to AI is they don't really care about feelings. So let's see. One study published in the Journal of Athletic Training to then show the cold water motion influence beneficial effects. Okay, so keep in mind too when we're looking at this. Keep in mind beneficial effects on muscle soreness and inflammation. Right. So that is true. So it could help with muscle soreness. Usually those studies though are acute. So like not like the day after, but like in the moments following your workout and inflammation. Obviously, because like let's say you're working out and you've got all the blood pumping to your biceps and you get an ice bath and then all the blood rushes back into your core to keep you warm, right? But like I said, that's not necessarily beneficial in the long run for muscle growth, hypertrophy, or strength, right? So that's why if you do it, you want to do it outside of the workout window. And a follow up to that, let's see, Sako, Devin, is it okay to I do workout first in the morning and then take a cold shower at night? Yeah, perfectly fine. Just as long as it's separated. It's kind of the same thing as like doing cardio around when you work out. So let's say you're trying to gain muscle, but then you go and run 5 miles like right after you get done weightlifting. Not a good idea. Not optimal at all. So you always want to say, like we always say, separate your cardio and you're weightlifting by 6 hours if you can. Separate it by day if you can. Like if you run on one day, work out on another day, that would be even more beneficial. But at least 6 hours of separation is usually what we say. And I'm going to say I don't know exactly what the research shows, but I'm going to say it's very similar for cold showers. You don't want to do it. Maybe if you're going to do it, I would say do it beforehand and then work out. I believe that yeah, that's exactly the way to do it from what I'm remembering. But yeah, try to separate it. Try to keep it separated. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take maybe 2, 3 more questions, and then I'm going to hop on off. Let's see. I like this, even King. Guys who are around 5'3" to 5'6" are just built different. They touch a dumbbell and immediately become open bodybuilder. Honestly, it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier, at least in my opinion, for shorter guys to lift heavier. And that's usually true. I mean, you look at power lifters; typically they're a little shorter, and it's because when you think about the amount of movement that they have to do overall, they're not doing as much work. Like whereas if I'm a 5 foot guy, I'm bench pressing, like I'm just doing this, right? That range of motion. Whereas if you're like a 6'5" guy, you have to go all the way up and it's completely like it's like 3 or 4 times the work. So it does affect. And then also because your frame is so small and you let's say you get just a little more muscle mass on it, that's going to make you look bigger than if you have that same amount of muscle mass on a bigger guy with a bigger frame, right? So yeah, totally agree. How do you increase your reflexes? That's actually a really good question. I have an idea, but let me see what chat says. Training with a partner drills and reflex training exercises such as catching a ball or striking a target, practicing specific exercises, quick and sudden movements such as plyometrics. Yep. Improving your overall fitness. I agree with that. Eating a healthy diet, of course. Eating a healthy diet, getting enough sleep is pretty much the answer to most fitness questions. Meditation and mindfulness. I wonder why. Meditation and mindfulness practices can help improve focus, concentration, and reaction time. Well, there you go. LFM. That's your answer. And honestly, all those make perfect sense. What I was going to say was probably training specific exercises, number two. Um, because if you want to work on your reflexes, just like with anything, you want to be as specific as possible. So yeah, but it makes total sense that you would want to improve your overall fitness, health, diet, all that stuff, even meditation and mindfulness, because you're going to be more alert and more aware instead of thinking about other things when you need to be there for your reflexes. That makes total sense. That's perfect. All right. Oh, nice. Thank you, Zako. Appreciate you. You have a good day as well. Devin, is it okay to? Oh yeah, we already answered that. Let's see. Another question. I've heard ice baths are good for your joints. Let's see. Of course, we're not taking this at gospel, basically, right here. We're not saying that ChatGPT is perfect. Obviously, it's not, but it is a good research tool, kind of like Wikipedia. What I would do is, if you're using it for research, look up some stuff, look up your question, and then if it looks a little iffy, if it looks a little, you're a little skeptical of its answer, ask it to show its research, And then after it's shown its research, look at the conclusions like we did some early in this video. And then from there, go look at the research and then make sure that's backed up. So that's your best bet with this. Yeah. So basically, that's what I would have said too. Evidence is pretty limited on ice baths and if they're good for your joints and stuff. I'm sure you can read more into that right there. But yeah, it's probably limited conclusions. Okay, I'm going to take one more question. Let's see. Oh, I like that. It's not a question, but I just think that's interesting for all of you to see. Pro gamer teams have some pretty cool reflex training programs. I would actually really like to see that. That sounds really interesting. That's cool. Okay. Okay, I'll take two more. Okay. Devin, have you ever fasted? Is it wise to do so? I have fasted. The most I've ever went is a day before. Although when I was doing bodybuilding, I felt like I was fasting for a week. Um, it depends on why you're doing it. Is it healthy for your body? Some research shows that it is. It could be up in the air. Is it healthy for your mind? I think so. It depends on how long you go and why you're doing it. Fasted cardio would be another thing we could talk about. I do fasted cardio in the mornings. Maybe not the best thing for hypertrophy, but maybe pretty good for losing body fat. So yeah, there's a lot we could go into with that one. But let's see here. Just to make things go by just a little quicker, I'm going to jump into this last one. Okay. So you're overweight. I went to the doctor's check, said that your blood pressure is high. Is better that I exercise daily for 20 Is it better that I exercise daily for 20 minutes, for example, or work out 3 times a week for an hour with rest days? That's a great question. That would be one to ask. Well, we can ask ACSM has a really good research on that sort of stuff. ACSM is American College of Sports Medicine. That's who I'm certified through, and they deal with a lot of prescription kind of stuff, like medical kind of stuff. So that would be good. Let's see. Which is better for working on blood pressure and losing weight? Exercising daily for 20 minutes or 3 times per week for an hour with rest days? Actually, very curious to see what it says. Both daily and 3 1-hour sessions per week can be beneficial for working on blood pressure and losing weight. The best option depends on your personal fitness level, goals, and preferences. Honestly, that's the answer you're going to get with most things in exercise science. The exercise science field is it depends. Depends on like your life. Like, do you still go to school? Are you working a job in which you can't work out daily, or maybe you only have 3 days available, or maybe you don't have an hour, a day. So maybe you have to do 20 minutes. So really, let's see. Look at these recommendations here. This is actually really good. The American Heart Association has some good stuff. I believe they have a certification program as well. So looks like, yeah, looks like with most answers, it's going to just depend on your goals. I think you can do either one. I think the most important thing though is that you're being consistent with how you're doing it. So if you're working out 3 times a week, make them challenging and progressing over time. If you're working out 20 minutes, make it challenging as well and progressing over time. But don't make it to the point to where you're sore the next day, and then the next day you're working out the same muscle group and you're sore. So just whatever you choose to do, just make sure it's smart, it's scientific, and it's a good routine either way. If that makes sense. So, all right, cool. Okay. Oh, okay. Last thing, working 9 to 5, but I can work out daily. Yeah, I would just start with something. I would just start with something very simple, you know. So, and I would test them both out. So maybe you find that working out daily is just like too much for you, and it's something you have to think about even on Saturday and Sunday, you know. And that could get annoying, if you just want to have the weekends off. So maybe a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of thing can work really good for you. So I would just say test it out and see what works best for you. So, all right. So that is it for our live stream today. Let me put it on me. That's it for our live stream today. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully there wasn't too many glitches or too many mess ups technically in this live stream. This is only my second one that I've ever done. If you guys have any more fitness questions, feel free to ask us in the Discord, which is linked below. Also, as of now, we have a Patreon, and it's kind of a beta Patreon just to see if you guys are interested. So you can join that, and in that Patreon, you can get free training guides, talk to me directly, ask me fitness questions, stuff like that. So that's all linked below. Of course, all the training guides and everything are linked below as well. Do people say like and subscribe on live streams? I don't really know, but if you can, like and subscribe. That would be awesome. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video, which is coming out tomorrow, and I'm super excited about it. So make sure to check that out. Catch you later.